Welcome back, everyone. This is a video I've been planning to do for a while about these fender flares on my Tundra, and I did not put them there because I like the way they look, although I do think they look pretty cool. This is more about the functional purpose of those, and I want you guys to understand why I've been running these. These are Bushwhacker fender flares on my Tundra here for quite a while, and I'm actually going to be putting on two rear ones today because I jacked up the rear ones prior this last season, just off-roading in the snow and using chains and not wanting to take the chains off before I hit the highway, and the highway just speed and metal hitting those things just tore them up. So I got two brand new ones. This is going to be a video about why I'm using them, which there's actually some driving characteristics that you wouldn't think matter, but ultimately, if you guys are going to lift your trucks, you need to widen the stance on it so you don't understeer and to help control that vehicle on the road. Now, that's debatable, but I'll tell you firsthand, before I widened my stance, my traction control was coming on almost every turn, and I'm only doing like a 2.5 inch lift there, guys. So I'll get to that in just a second. Anyway, this video is a combination of install and why I did it. We'll start with why I did it. So it doesn't look like I'm running extra offset here, meaning this way. I think that's considered negative offset when you go that way. It seems backwards, but the factory Toyota offset is, I think, 65 millimeters in that way. And so what I was getting after I lifted the truck was a lot, not just body roll, of course, right? You get that when you lift, but that extra body roll threw the dynamics of the vehicle off, and I was understeering like crazy. I don't drive that fast on road, and it did not take much going through a turn to make this truck start to just handle weird. So when I put my Method wheels here, I've got the Method, I think these are the 205s, these are the bead grips. I decided to go for a wider stance to give myself some better handling characteristics. Now, I am running the pizza cutter with tires here. These are Kenda Cleaver MT2 mud trains, which are awesome, by the way. I've been loving these. I guess if you're running the narrow tires, you need to run a little bit more offset. What you're trying to do is get that tire to align with the side of the vehicle. And now if you don't have these flares on, you're gonna have these tires running outside of the vehicle, which not only, in my opinion, looks kind of funny, you're gonna be throwing rocks and all that kind of crap at your paint and the people behind you when you're driving, which is not cool. And not only that, but these replace your mud flaps. And I did have the factory mud flaps on here. If you're doing any level of seriousness off-road, those mud flaps are gonna hit rocks, they're gonna get shoved up into your tire, and you're gonna ruin them pretty quick. So these not only replace or give you the ability to go a little wider stance and not be weird looking and not be throwing rocks at everyone, but they also eliminate the mud flaps and give you a much cleaner look down there. Now, just keep in mind, if you're running chains at 50 miles an hour, that's likely gonna happen. So today I'm gonna pull these off, clean up that rust, put some just basic epoxy primer on there, and then cover that damage with some new flares. And if you've damaged your vehicle, I mean, even on the Subaru, we ended up putting fender flares on there too, just because ice built up there one day, hit a bump, tire hit the ice, dented the fender, chipped the paint. I just epoxied that paint, and voila, we're repaired. So stick around, I'll show you how we're gonna do this. Now, if you're gonna go wider tire, that's another thing. You don't need to go this much offset. You might go 25 in if you're gonna have a 20 to 40 millimeter wider tire. That's gonna get you that flush fit and stable handling as well. I won't bore you guys to death with the disassembly, but it's really that simple, just pulling those bolts. And I'm gonna go ahead and grind that rust out, epoxy it up, then we'll get to how to put these on if you guys are interested in doing something like this. Now, I will also say I chose to use Bushwhacker fender flares as opposed to other brands because they are American made. They are definitely not the cheapest. I think a pair of these is about $250 to $300. I'll put a link in the description. This is not sponsored by Bushwhacker. I just chose them because I always choose quality over price when it makes sense. And in this case, I think it does. I think they also come with a warranty, like some sort of lifetime warranty if it's not misused. To mention, another reason I went with these is because you can get these without the bolts on top. And a lot of the times those bolts are just cosmetic. I think that's silly. That's just another thing that can collect dirt, and I don't know. It also just weird when you have something that's not functional. And then the ones that are functional, that are actually bolting onto the side of your car, why would you want to put bolts in the side of your truck? So these were the only ones I could find that use the factory mounting location for the underfairing, and just utilizes that. It's pretty smart. Plus they're paintable. I'm fine with black, but you can paint these. In case you're wondering about that paint, that's a bed liner by Monster Liner. I wanted to see, let's see if it faded at all. This has been on there for about 3 years. Much of it parked out in the driveway. No fading. Sweet, just a little dirt underneath. I can't recommend bed liner enough if you're getting tons of pinstripes. It also, like, the truck still looks cool when it's dirty, except for this. You guys a quick look at what it's like without the fender flare. Honestly, it just looks funny sticking out like that, and it just looks like the car's not fully assembled, in my opinion. Let's compare to the other side. Just way cleaner. And then again, you're not throwing rocks everywhere. It just looks finished. I'm not gonna record all this. I'm just gonna show you what I'm using. Basically just a drill with a brush on it. My camera guy, my son, he's out on a trip right now, so you'll just see that cleaned up in a second.
There you go, all cleaned up. I'm gonna wipe that down with acetone, and then we'll prime it with some epoxy primer.
All right, this is the exact primer that I used before putting the epoxy top coat on. It's not an epoxy itself. I just referred to it as epoxy primer because it's what I prime with before putting epoxy on, but I've also used it to touch up areas that don't get UV, and it holds just fine. It's a great rust protector for your vehicle where the sun don't shine. I have had this jar of primer for years, and it's just like mixing up a jar of peanut butter again. And it still works every time. It's come in so handy just to have one of these around. I suppose you could sub with a different product. Speaking of subs, if you guys have been joining this channel and want to see more content like this, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps my son and I out so we can keep producing stuff in the DIY space and bring this content not just to you, but anyone who's looking to get out there and just start fixing things on their own. There, we're not looking for perfection. We just want to prevent rust. We're gonna give that a couple more coats and then get these new fender flares. Probably the hardest part of the installation is getting this trim on, but you can see how it shapes in there, and then this edge blends it into your paint right there and creates that seal. What you don't want to do is pull all that red tape cover off. Just do a couple inches at a time, and do not stretch the rubber as you go, because then that'll contract after you're done and it'll be too short on one or both ends. But it should look pretty good at the end if you do it right. And I've had these on the last one's on for probably 40, 50,000 miles, and they haven't started to come off. And I'm trying to film at the same time, but I want you to see, if you squeeze this, it opens it up, and you're gonna use one hand to do that, the other hand to push it in. Coming along there. Okay, we're gonna cut it up here with a razor blade right where it terminates, and just, squeeze real hard. I can't do it with one hand, but squeeze hard and squish it down, right? You can even pull it back off on the back and push down if you missed a spot, if it kind of bumps up a little bit like that right there. All right, so these actually use existing body clips that just get screwed into, but if you're missing some, we'll link this on Amazon. This is what you want, and this is a variety pack for all different types of connectors, but this just clips into the body, and then that's where the screw goes in right there. I'm missing one, so I'm gonna use this, and then we'll go ahead and get screwed on. All right, I didn't tighten them all. You want to just get them kind of started so you can manipulate it a little if you need to, but I just want to show you. It's not even screwed in. Look how snug that fits. You actually have to push in on the plastic to get the holes to align, so it creates a really nice tight seal there. All right, there they are, brand new, starting all over again. And by the way, if you guys do want to know more about these tires, they are the best, bar none, off-road tire I've ever used. I did a review, initial impressions. Check the end screen. And I'm gonna take this bad boy off-road. Check the channel for updates. If you guys like that video, I've got stuff on the suspension, the rack I built, etc. And we'll be going off-road and filming some of that in a little bit here too. So hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.